Welcome to Mindful Bollocks, the podcast where I have no idea what I normally say. I've completely forgotten it now.
That's all right.
Oh no! The podcast where we look at spirituality and sometimes look at it from a real life point of view. So sometimes, like just now, things go awry.
And there'll be a lot of that. We're really honest with this. It's not about anything being perfect in practice, really, is it? And we're a prime example of that.
Yeah.
It's literally just about mindfulness, and we're a bit sweary, but we are always mindful in what we do.
Yeah.
I think
we always try to be,
self-reflection and everything's
we try to be
really actually important.
Definitely.
And
hello. He is here. So, I'm Melanie.
I'm Kay. Hi.
Hello. So a quick recap, because this is episode number 3.
Yeah. It fainted.
Excuse me. Undo.
Right.
Oh, hello. I don't know if I already helloed on that one. Let's put it over here, out of the way. Sorry about that. So, my nickname is Magic Mel. And I sort of never. I was christened at Church of England when I was a baby, and then I was sort of agnostic. I didn't really have my family wasn't really a very faithful. My granddad had faith, but it didn't really force it on me. And then when he passed, I sort of went on a bit of a spiritual journey, some of which we shall talk about in future episodes because it was a bit mad. Really.
That's your catalyst though, wasn't it?
It was. It's all very much growth. There's a lot of, and I see how my angelic Reiki helped me understand energy, and that then led on to my time in the sex cult, which also helped me understand energy on a really, really deep level. So that's me. But we will be talking about my sex cult days. In a future
That's probably
episode.
going to be a series.
Yes, there's lots of things we can talk about that because it was a very interesting time.
It's interesting how the nature of a cult actually integrates into perceived society's norms, isn't it? And what can be perceived as completely normal, isn't it? And that's what we really need to do the deep dive into, and where the boundaries cross. And
well, I think also like normal is. Like tradition is peer pressure.
Normal.
Yeah, tradition is peer pressure from dead people.
Yeah,
and a lot of my time in the cult was definitely like taking off layers of what is expected of me to actually understand and become self-aware of what what makes me happy and what I need to do, and not in a way that. Not in this individualistic way where it's just like I'm going to be okay and fuck everybody else as well. So it's an interesting thing.
It's the unpicking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the unpicking. Anyway, on to me.
Yeah.
I'm Kay. I'm just here really. I'm pretty much the way my beliefs are pretty much elementalism. I'm happiest if I'm near the elements and
trees.
And I'm unfortunately, which is a massive curse. It has been recently anyway. I'm quite intuitive, so that'll mean that I'll probably know what's going through your head before you even thought about thinking it, which is it is actually a curse. But we'll come on to that when we talk about a few things later. But and that's that really. I think that's I believe in what I believe in on the day. That's kind of where because I have to unpick everything, and my own worst enemy is my own head. Which is most of us, if we're honest.
Definitely. And I think even people who think it's not, often when you actually look at
self-reflect.
If you look at that, well, actually your belief there is a bit.
You feel it in.
You have weird beliefs that are actually detrimental, limiting you, limiting self-beliefs that actually if you looked at that and changed it, then you'd actually be a happier person.
Yeah,
so I see that in quite
as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what we could, which is where I think the experiences you've had in the situation you were in, are quite anything that happens to us, you can look at positives and negatives.
Definitely.
But I think the experience that you've had, actually, you've got a lot of spiritual growth from it.
Absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah.
A lot.
But then also, it's then the identification process of where, if you became into elements of what, because elements of what did happen with you are wrong, and it wasn't fair. You know, there's been prosecutions.
Yeah.
And we do have to raise that and say that, and we will be looking at this in great detail. This didn't mean to go this way,
no.
but it has actually for the subject that we're doing. I think it's incredibly valid. And
well, the thing about you were saying about self-sabotage actually comes into something we're going to talk later on about, like falling for political propaganda. So that is a foreshadowing.
But this is, if you actually watch us, and you watch us quite a lot, there's quite a lot of this, because we've done separate research this week, but we're actually still both touching on exactly the same elements of it, which is why it's interesting to listen to both of our perspectives, because I actually think we're quite balancing when we do that, because we're not frightened to jump in and say, actually, have you looked at it from this point of view? Which is the right way for a discussion. So, you know, buckle up, buttercup, because here we go.
So, one of the things we're going to do every week is, at the end of the episode, we're going to share what we call a sensory snapshot. And if you follow us on social media, you know that I do these Monday to Friday anyway. So there is a post pinned to all of our social media that explains what, how and why, or what, why and how, actually, in that order. Basically it's a moment of sensation that you feel in your body, the highest level of sensation, and it has 4 aspects. So it's the location of it, the temperature of it, the movement of it, and the texture of it. For more information, go to our social media. That's at Mindful Bollocks on most channels, but not Twitter. But everywhere else.
You've got the link, haven't you? And our link is in our social media as well.
Not yet, no. But to our social medias, yes.
Yeah, but we can put it in the link.
Yeah.
Link tree, can't we?
We can put it in the link tree. Might be able to put it on. We might be able to put a link on the channel, actually.
That's a really good idea.
So you can literally go directly to it. So we'll do it at the end, and so you can get the idea. But if you watch us regularly, it's about getting in your body and joining in. So this week is something that I wanted to share is a reflection of something that that I've sort of learnt, and it sort of fits in with the self-awareness. So I do, one of the reasons I do the sensory snapshot is because it's like a daily practice, and I also do something called fear inventory, which I will be doing free training on. So fear stands for false evidence appearing real, and I will be doing more about that. But basically, often when I'm doing it, so I do 20 minutes every day, Monday to Friday. I give myself the weekend off, but I actually often, because I have ADHD, my brain will go almost having conversations with myself about what I'm almost, and getting off on track and not actually writing any fear inventory. And I usually try and do 2 A4 slides in that 20 minutes, and usually I don't because my brain goes off on one. But today I actually was doing really well, and I was focused to the point where I had almost filled up the sheet, and then I was pissed off at myself because I was going to potentially go over onto a second sheet, but not enough to really fill it up, and my brain was like annoyed that I was going to almost like waste paper. So I then realised while I was doing it, it was like, actually I just feel like I can never be happy with this, and it's reflecting on lots of things, like with fear inventory and then with the world at large. Is almost like a level of where I will never be happy with what I do, because it's either not enough or it's too much. So that was really like a really interesting thing for me to look at my beliefs around, like where I'm
self-reflecting,
never quite right, never quite, it's always
but you identified it, and
so
that's
interesting.
That's what the practice is about as well, isn't it? It is self-reflection, and it's actually, you're giving it energy by writing it on paper, and then you're looking into it, and that is healthy. It's like journaling, which is it's a very similar process of journaling, which I think we will talk about on here, because that's looking at some of the merch we're thinking about is to produce like a book of shadows, isn't it?
Yeah.
But also, I think if you combine everything nicely, I think it should have you should have your journaling aspect in that, and it should be. And I think that's a beautiful thing to do, because then you're actually looking at what you want in there. You're looking at your bit of, I don't know, kitchen witch, whatever else, and then you're looking through and you're thinking, actually, now what today can I write? And then it's every day. And then if you've got that for a whole year, how beautiful is that? You're looking back, and there's nothing better than a paper-based reflection. I know with the fear inventory, you either say it or you burn it or you
don't keep it.
You don't keep it. This is what I want to make really clear.
Yeah, fear inventory is like you're actually giving it up to
the universe, almost,
to something external. So either the universe, or if you believe in God, I write God stroke des, because for me, the divine energy that is in the universe doesn't have really necessarily. It's by gender fluid, whatever it does. It's not like
it's a force.
It's a force. Yeah, agender. It's
not necessarily gendered.
Yeah,
because I think that's what archaically I think that's where it comes as well, from the masculine.
Yeah. From patriarchy, a lot of patriarchy coming in. So, of course, God must be a man, because men know everything. But that's a bias. Shall we talk about bias? Move.
Where have we got up to? So we've done our sensory snapshot. Last week's episode.
Yes.
Hopefully you've watched it, guys, or it's up on YouTube, as we mentioned. Yes.
You can still watch it on here directly after this, because it is still live on here.
They stay on, don't they, till about 6 o'clock. Yeah. We've had this when we've been editing before. We've noticed that it's still there. And it's like, oh god, there's two. But it's. I misspoke last week, and hands up if I bugger up, I always will, and I'll be the first one to psychoanalyse all our episodes. Sarah Ferguson did not work for Simfast. She had an association with Weight Watchers. So, and all the research documents are up to speed now, aren't they? Yeah. There's an awful lot on there. Make what you will of it.
Yeah, she did. I just did bullet points and links, and she literally went almost, I think she was
again. Furious. I think you probably read that. I was furious as well. If you actually read the documents and how it's worded, which a bias again.
Yeah, it's a bias, but is it an unreasonable? Like, it's not an unreasonable bias to be furious. I think we have to be careful with shaming. I
wouldn't anyway.
An understandable reaction to the privilege and the corruption and the harm that has been done.
I think as well. I think we also have to look at what other elements in our own lives are going on when we actually write stuff like that, because you have got that unconscious element. If something's going on outside of it, and you're thinking, "Fuck me, this is relevant to whatever else," it's not. Then I think you have got that little nip in the back of your head that makes you more furious, because you've got the association of stuff which it makes it personalised. Which is why I say, if you do look at the research documents, do look at them with your own opinions, which is what we've said all the way through, isn't it?
So talking of bias, so we give a definition. I have a simple one, and I then also have a Cambridge Dictionary one. So a simple one is a tendency to prefer one thing over another.
I've got loads. It depends where you want to go with it, really. I think bias is often unconscious. I think
it can be. We have to be careful of our conscious unbiased. Some people, I think, it's very conscious bias.
So do I, but I also think bias and prejudice work together. I think and if you've got bias and prejudice together, you've almost got the perfect storm, because you're filling in what you're seeing. I had in writing what I wrote when I was furious, that was conscious bias. I can't call that unconscious bias, because it made me furious. I knew, and I ran with it. And I think you can utilise bias to that degree. And as you're saying, you don't want to discredit a rightful reaction.
I think,
but was it an unbiased piece? No,
it
wasn't. And that is almost my own bias self-sabotaging something that which could have been quite a good document historically, and I could have used for perhaps better, not better, but in other contexts. But because your bias is already there,
I think it's very difficult not to, because we do have life experience, and therefore for some things it's very difficult to not have a bias one way or the other. Bias can be favourable, so you can like things as well, whereas prejudice is very much to do with usually like people, so the Cambridge Dictionary says bias is the action of supporting or opposing a particular person or thing in an unfair way because of allowing personal opinions to influence your judgment.
Which is,
and prejudice, prejudice, simple, is an unfair opposing bias, and the Cambridge Dictionary says an unfair and unreasonable opinion or feeling, especially when formed without enough thought or knowledge. And actually something I watched before was that Sandy Toksvig lecture on Alan Turing.
Oh yeah, we started watching that, didn't we?
It's called Cutting the Discovery Bias, on the bias, because she does on the biases. It was to do with making things, cutting it on the bias. So she was making a play on words, which was very good. But it's looking at the role of bias in
falls. That's what bias got.
It's the role of, so specifically about the role of prejudice in learning, but actually I think it applies to more than that. So that link will be in the research document if you want to go straight. It's on YouTube. So if you just typed into YouTube Sandy Toksvig Alan Turing lecture 2025, then you would find it. But there will be a link to that. It's really, really, really interesting. But also sort of, she is a humorous person, so
yeah, she is. She's easy to watch, isn't she?
And
insightful.
Oh, I had some quotes as well.
Oh, nice.
I put in the thing some quotes about albums. That's really loud.
I think they may be having a party.
There we go. I think someone's having if you can maybe hear that.
Because that's what you do on a Wednesday at 10 to 1.
Oh, I did put lots in here. So.
Oh, unless children in need may actually be visiting the local school, which has happened before.
Could be.
Yeah.
Sorry if you can hear that. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're not invited. We like a party. So, Esther Perel said, the more you know about yourself, the better your relationship with the rest of the world, which I thought was quite interesting. And this one I loved. This is actually off my insight timer. It gives me a little quote every morning. Waking up to who you are requires letting go of who you imagine yourself to be. And that really, I think we all have this.
Does it resonate?
Yeah, I think a lot of, we all have this desire to be like this good person or whatever, and therefore we would sort of blank out any hint that we could be doing things that are bad. So that's something that I found.
That's kind of when bias meets awareness, though, isn't it? Because if that's when you've got your biases, the pattern, you see the patterns instead of the truths, really. Because you're kind of it's just, you can have positive biases, as in you can think this person, farts rainbows are fantastic, and you're like they'd never do anything like that. So you've got a bias. It's the same as nepotism, really, when people get their privilege that way. But it is if your bias is saying that's definitely right, no, they wouldn't do that, then actually, how can you be objective? Yeah, you're not being objective. Yeah, and that's where you've got to. Everything we do has got to be fact based and understood. Really, if we're not going to be biased in a negative, I think to cause negativity, because that's what you're doing really with bias, is that you're not seeing the full picture. That's how I understand it.
I think I don't think we can ever not be biased. No, but we have to be. Bias. We have to actually understand, have to understand about. Obviously, in a lot of scientific experiments, they really have to really. Sorry, the YMCA is coming on. Anyway, so yeah. Yeah. Oh, so I put a joke. So I have put unconscious bias in here, and I've also put like a jokey thing. So I have a bias towards chips being my favourite potato product.
Oh, how can you choose though? Because mash is fabulous.
I don't know. I just like the
chips.
Well, because you can put them in
Anything.
chip butty.
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
And you can dip chip butty with either sweet and sour sauce. Thick chips, thick bread with butter. Yeah.
She's hungry. She's hungry.
I'm always hungry for chips. I love chips. And I put actually also I have a bias towards blondes rather than brunettes, but that is more in women. In men, I have a preference for probably brunettes over blondes.
That's weird.
I know.
But then I think bias as well. You can do it in other. If you know something about someone, you use that bias to make assumptions about them. Mm-hmm. It literally, if you know someone. I get it quite a lot. If you know someone doesn't drive, you make assumptions that they can't do this or they can't do that. And then, because quite often I pull people up and I'll be like, actually, no, it makes no difference because I've already got my processes in. I'm well ready for this. You know, I nothing's ever stopped me and held me back. My life revolves around where I can get and go to. That's not an issue, and that won't be a reason I won't do something. But it is it's preconceived ideas of your own influences on what you think is normal is influenced by bias. You know, you think, oh, they can't do that because of this and this. Well, actually, maybe they can because you've got your preconceived idea on what that means. It's the same as like when you've got kids in school with things like hearing loss or something. Oh, they can't do this, they can't do that. Well, I've got a kid who had hearing loss, and she was one of the best readers, period, because she's bloody minded and had to be. But it's almost with bias. It is influenced by everything. It's the information that we have on subjects that we think we know a lot about, and it's really tricky. It's really tricky because it's so, and if you've got bias with emotion with it, which is sometimes like I got furious with the research I was doing, that's where you have got the potential to manipulate the facts in your own head, and that's interesting because you can read into it, think, and fill it in. You're like, this happened because of this. Oh, they've done this before, so they must be. Therefore, they must be. When actually, when you look back on it, that's all our ideas and what we're filling in. It's not fact, and it's where the gaps are filled. Yeah, and that's almost where if you also add that into conspiracy beliefs, that's dangerous.
Well, actually, I have some conspiracy beliefs. There was actually I don't know if I put it in it's not in here, so I might go and find it. I was watching a channel called Wendigoon, and
that's a great name.
And he was going through the conspiracy pyramid, and it's starting from like the level. I think it's like level 1 to level 9 or something like that. Different levels of conspiracy where it's sort of quite innocuous to start with, going up to quite crazy and dangerous. So, but some of the ones that I've written down, that sort of are stuck in my head, were like the 5G.
Oh yeah,
where they were like, oh look, 5G, where the 5G concentration is where the COVID main outbreaks are. Therefore, there must be a link where it's like that. Well, correlation doesn't mean causation. Like there's another reason for that, is because basically population density. So they're going to put the 5G where there's more people,
where they need to get signal,
but also that means there's more people in close proximity to each other that are more likely to pass on COVID. So there was a correlation, but it wasn't a causation.
It wasn't what actually they thought they were looking at, the findings. But you've got so many different types of conspiracies anyway. You've got political conspiracies. I mean, that kind of goes across both, really. That goes into a medical conspiracy, doesn't it? Yeah. And COVID caused so many conspiracy theories, and I don't know what I actually think about that, because anything that you are controlled, which was what we were. We were controlled, and our civil liberties were taken away, weren't they? You're always going to say, why did that happen, and why? Because you try and just get below. It's like Shrek again, the layers of why this happened. Yeah, and that's.
And obviously linking into COVID, and that was the vaccines, and that's the thing that I didn't understand, was that they were like, well, we shouldn't, like, it's 97% recoverable, so we shouldn't be being so concerned about COVID because it's just like a flu. But then a very small percentage of people were harmed by the vaccine, and my partner's friend couldn't have it because she ended up in hospital.
It's really sad.
She didn't die from it, luckily, but she was like, you cannot have any more of these because
the offset because the side effects actually is made you unwell. And obviously,
like you said, I think before the second time, sometimes the second reaction is
worse than
a lot worse. But the percentages of that happening were like 0.0000 something percent, but they were like, no, look, this and it just like the maths ain't mathsing.
But then you've got
because why is it not when it's 3%? Is it we shouldn't be worrying, but when it's even less percent, we should be worrying? I'm like, and maybe someone can explain to me.
Yeah,
in the comments.
I'd actually like us to do a bit of a deep dive into this, because I mean, I've watched a documentary yesterday. It's Carol McGiffin, I think she used to be on Loose Women, and she actually refers to the pandemic as the plandemic.
Oh, that because there was a video, wasn't there, that was going out and about financed by the lovely RFK Jr.
Yeah, but she quoted that, and she actually made me turn a lot of what I think, not on its head, but just I want to do a bit of a deep, because I was furious. Again, I was furious with her. So I was just like, I need to understand
where she's coming
from, which is a lot of how my head goes to anyway.
I think, and that's what we should always do, is I very rare, even if I agree with it, I rarely take it at face value.
Yeah,
I'm like,
because there's...
What is the, why have they said that? Where has the information come from? Because it's, and so the other one I've got is Big Pharma,
right?
Because that's obviously to do with. I haven't actually put and Flat Earth as being, because it's all to do. There was these are some of the ones that I've got. So transhumanism, and it's not to be confused with transphobia, the hatred of trans people, because it's actually, and some people even in the conspiracy world do. Because actually transhumanism is about making bionic humans.
Yeah.
And putting another good one was what I've heard of before was Agenda 21. So it's a UN thing where it's basically they're trying to create the New World Order, and my partner will love this. I'm pleasure to call him partner, because the New World Order is actually a tag team in wrestling, which Hulk Hogan was part of.
Oh my god!
So every time I see someone, your nan's watching.
Hello, darling.
We have a fifth person talking.
Hello, darling.
So yeah, I always want to, if I see someone saying about the New World Order as a conspiracy theory, I normally put a gif of Hulk Hogan in the New World Order underneath.
Is that what you're gonna?
Yeah, that's
I think that'd be really.
I don't like Hulk Hogan. I think he's a twat. Or was a twat because he's dead. Sorry,
when did he die?
Earlier this year, sometime.
Didn't he die around the same time?
That's
there was about 6 of them.
Whole conspiracy theory around that as well.
What around
his death?
Hulk Hogan.
But he was. I can't remember what it was. I think it's that his wife killed him or something. Somebody like
he's a big fella though. He's a massive fella.
Yeah.
How would he?
No, I think because he had a heart attack and that.
God.
Also, he had something physically wrong with him, but something. They could have saved him, but they didn't. It was all. I can't remember exactly what it is. Maybe my partner can put something in the comments so I can read it out. I can't remember if he's actually still watching and can.
Do you want
he's
me
probably
to see
working.
He probably is working.
He actually has a proper day job. So a lot of the issues. So I've got fluoride, chemtrails.
Fluoride's interesting. Our reaction in this country to fluoride is acceptance.
Not all. I know a few people that do. Not.
I know people, but I didn't even from a small child. Fluoride is just there.
It's supposed to be. Well, one of the things that the conspiracy theory. This is on the Wendy Goon thing that it's to do with calcification of our pineal gland, but apparently our pineal gland isn't something we use as adults. So it doesn't matter that the calcification could be just to do with getting older.
Yeah, because it's just it's the assumption is that it's to protect our teeth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which it was added. I think it was late 50s. Is that correct?
I can't remember exactly.
It's 50s, 60s, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's around the 50s and 60s. It's in drinking water.
Yeah.
Basically, but you've also got there's all sorts of theories around drinking water, and that if you've got mercury in drinking water, that it can cause an awful lot of issues with mental health and spikes in illness.
Well, they used to take mercury as medicine.
That's
it wasn't one of the whichever George it was, the Madness of King George, wasn't that because he had mercury poisoning?
It's mercury poisoning sends you off to the scale, doesn't it? It's but you do have mercury that is added in pharmaceuticals. You literally can't say that sweeping generalisation it's bad in every context, because it isn't. It's the same as fluoride. But then you've also got folic acid, which is added to flour, which that blows my mind slightly, because folic acid is usually for the development of children, isn't it? You take it during pregnancy.
I'm assuming because
but it's another additive.
Yeah,
that's the.
It is good.
Conspiracies.
Well, no, because I'm sure he won't mind. My partner has to take a medicine for his psoriasis, and therefore, because he takes that medicine, he has to take folic acid. Because
so it's for absorption.
It's probably because whatever the medicine
it's
he takes,
fucks
up the absorption. Yeah, fucks up his. So obviously, you can't talk about conspiracy theories without talking about QAnon.
Go on.
And Pizzagate. Well, it was basically a lot.
I want to do moon landings.
We have got that on the list.
I've got it on the list as well, because I think I don't know now.
Well, they do say like with things like that, like if it includes more than 6 people, then someone's going to come out and have already said that it was faked.
It's false, isn't it?
Yeah. So one of the main things about
I believe in Buzz Lightyear. That's all I'm going to say, because Toy Story is real.
So the QAnon thing, there was a whole Pizzagate thing where they were saying that there was in the basement of this pizza restaurant, I think it was in New York. I didn't write this bit down. I just wrote Pizzagate. There was this pizza place, and apparently it was Republicans like looking at Democrats and saying they were basically the adrenochrome thing, right, where they were harvesting the adrenochrome from young children to keep themselves useful. Probably not helped by the fact there is a guy who actually takes his son's blood and has a transfusion of his son's blood to try and keep him young. There is actually a person who does that.
That's wrong. Who is that?
I can't remember the name.
Why would you though? That's a child.
Not a little child, probably like a teenager-y.
Yeah, but still, that's shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. And why would you have your kids? Not for that reason. But then, if you wanted to go onto the ethical side of that, it's when you're looking at children who are brought into the world because a child needs a kidney and things. There's the ethics around.
I can understand
why. I can as well, because you want to
also then
protect your child, and if you needed,
are you asking the child's consent?
Yeah. Nobody knows if your kid needed something, you would do it, wouldn't you? You would literally
I don't have
do
children,
it.
so I don't
No,
know.
but if your child did, I would. You just you go for every possible way to find means, but ethically, is it right? Because you've got that bias, haven't you? Because it's your child.
I don't know. It just feels a bit. I can understand why, and I have never been in that situation, and will never be in that situation. So I don't know. It does feel. It must be so fucking hard to actually be in that situation where you're thinking.
It must be your worst nightmare, mustn't it? It must absolutely be your worst nightmare. But again, it's conspiracy theories around, you know, growing people in labs. And technology is far more advanced than we're ever aware of. That's my view on this. We're only told what is needed to be told, because obviously if you share information about what's going on, then who's going to get there first?
Yeah, someone else. Like, that's a good idea.
That's a good idea. I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to actually take credit for this. And I'm going to do that because that's the nature of human beings. It's like, I know what I'm talking about, I'm going to do this. And that's uncomfortable.
Sorry. She's
gone. I don't know where she's gone, but she's gone.
It's because I can hear the Macarena now.
Yeah, we actually think in the background here, 'cause we can actually hear a party going on at the school. Yeah, let us know if you can actually hear it. It'll be really good. The Rothschilds is also one go on.
Yes, because that's a hugely anti-Semitic. Sometimes they're called the elite. If you ever hear someone referring to the elite, then that's actually basically being anti-Semitic, because it's always the Jewish elite. So they're basically accused of financial, social and political domination.
What's that on?
So basically the Rothschilds is a family.
I know what the Rothschilds are. I did the Hellfire Caves for one of my ghost stories, didn't I? And I know the association
they're
with
also acute. So
the banks.
Controlling all the banks and the finances and getting into politics and controlling all the politics. And actually John Stewart, who is Jewish, had a really good point of this. Is like, yes, of course, you know, it's one of these days we might actually have a president of the United States, because it's American, president of the United States swear on the Bible that you know, being facetious and sarcastic, because obviously all the presidents so far, there's never been a Jewish president ever. So it's not like the Christians, but the blood, they're also accused of blood libel, which is the accusation that Jewish people use the blood of Christians in religious rituals, especially in the preparation of Passover bread. And that's been going on.
I don't know.
That's been going on since the Middle Ages.
So that's another conspiracy.
Yeah, that they're all part. You know, it's basically a serious anti-Semitism. I know somebody I know was Rothschilds. Right. I'm not friends with her anymore, so it's fine.
The Rothschilds generally are an interesting family. In the town we live in, you've got the Wilco's building. The building that was there was actually a Rothschild's house. Yeah. That was anciently. I've got links actually to it on my historical documents, and it's interesting because they had associations with so much, and also you've got the buildings of you've got the stud and all sorts. Rothschild, it's just massive. And Tring, and there's a picture, isn't there, of the Rothschilds out in Tring where they had the zebras on the carriage. If you can ever get that picture up, it's fabulous and it's real. They had zebras pulling their carriage. It was, and how amazing is that though? But then the Rothschilds were highly involved with the National History Museum as well, which the element, I love national history. I love history generally, as we know, but the connotations of how they sourced is really quite uncomfortable now. But at the time, it's the same as the accepted norm. What was accepted at the time, and and generationally, because did they make progress with the origin of where things came from and looking at what can survive in different climates and understanding the genetics. Yes, it did. Of course it did, because it's what they learned from. I mean, you would never have had species of animals if the collections didn't exist. We would never have had the understanding at that time if you didn't have the privilege from who they were and had the money for who they were to actually bring the specimens. We wouldn't have. Yeah. Would the species have been more? I still hear some of them because obviously. You're talking about the dodo and things like that. Loads of species have gone extinct because of course we've decided we want to have stuffed copies of them and stuff like that. Do we need to go on to Jurassic Park now? About we can regenerate dinosaurs, because would you if you could? I don't know what I'd do. I think about that a lot. I shouldn't think about it a lot, but I do. Would I? Are you upsetting the ecosystem? No, yes, because I think now
Also, we didn't wipe out the dinosaurs.
No, the world wiped
Yeah.
out the Ice Age. Did that.
Well, there was. I've been watching a few things on that actually, because obviously a lot of it was wasn't an ice age as such. I think it was there was a meteor, but then it wasn't the meteor itself that wiped them out. It was then the consequences that there was 2 years of absolute darkness around the world, which killed off the plants, which killed off the dinosaurs that ate the plants, which killed off the dinosaurs that ate the dinosaurs that ate the plants, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so
photosynthesis became impossible. Obviously, you need light.
Yeah.
If you haven't got light, then you haven't got growth.
And they said one of them said that's why birds are still around, because they ate seeds. So, and the reason that plants came back was because the seeds just stayed dormant.
That's how you distribute seeds as well, and plants can remain
Yeah.
dormant.
It will remain dormant until
you?
there was light, until the light came back, and then the seeds went, okay, yep, we're going to grow again now, but some of the birds, they are seed eaters because they survived.
Is that evolution?
Yeah, because they were able to survive the conditions, I suppose.
Yeah, because otherwise they wouldn't, would they? I mean, dragonflies as well, and ancient as well. I love dragonflies, but if you actually look at the insect community as well, we just assume that dinosaurs were the beginning of everything, and that's not the right assumption. That's
some
not
of the
the right
insects were
assumption.
massive. I was also watching something on YouTube that was talking about how crazy big some of the bugs were in olden days, in prehistoric,
Millennia.
before dinosaurs, even. It was just, yeah. So going back sort of to the conspiracies, I found in a Psychology Today a article about conspiracy wellness and spirituality wellness and conspiracy beliefs, because there is quite an overlap.
Yeah.
I actually felt I think there was a bias there within that, because it was quite derogatory, and it was like, well, if you believe in ghosts and if you believe, then you're going to be stupid enough to believe in conspiracy theories. Well, we believe in ghosts and we believe in intuition, because it was intuitionists they were talking about.
Yeah, just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
No,
you can get a feeling about someone, can't you?
Yeah.
And I think go on your intuition.
I think we have to be careful, because
but
sometimes
don't fill in the gaps.
Yes,
that's the dangerous bit.
Because we can sometimes go on off. It's actually our fear and not our intuition. But the key points of this article were that the reason that people believe in conspiracy theories was like to have we want to understand the world. We want to have almost like control and understand. One of it is the illusion of control, but have an understanding of the world and why. That's why there was a massive conspiracy around the JFK assassination, because people.
That was horrific, though.
Didn't want to believe that one man could literally just kill the president, so there had to be this massive conspiracy around it.
They needed to find a way that happened that was acceptable to their psyche, really, because it was a horrific crime. She was Jackie Kennedy was absolutely obliterated in blood, wasn't she? If you're interested in true crime, I can link that in actually, because I think that would be a really interesting. The way that's one of the first true crimes I was. You spark your imagination when you're a teenager, and there was footage, wasn't there, of her literally crawling to the back of the car, and because it was televised, it actually it's real. You can't dispute that. It's not just reading it in a newspaper. His assassination was horrific, and it was the first time that I think people really understood this is a consequence. If someone is assassinated, this is what it looks like, because it hadn't. I had a magazine somewhere. It's awful.
Because I was in Dallas on the 50th I happened to be on a layover in Dallas on the 50th anniversary, so in the airport.
Were you?
And there was a magazine about it.
She dressed so beautifully, didn't she?
Well, someone recently did a Halloween costume of her.
That went with her pink and her pillar box hat. She was so elegant and so.
Yeah, the fact that she refused to, everyone's like, oh no, you need to change.
She should have changed. How disrespectful is that? Regardless of what your thoughts on the Kennedys or anything is, someone's father and husband died in that, and in horrific circumstances. There's no respect at all in that. It's not funny. History doesn't.
No, I mean, sorry. Jackie Kennedy didn't change.
Oh no, she didn't, because she couldn't. She was in shock, wasn't she?
Yeah. Well, she they wanted her to change, and she was like, "No, I want people to see what's happened."
But that was her processing as well, because she was incredibly unwell, wasn't she?
Yeah.
That was the trigger of her life, really. If you're to believe those, where everything changed in that pivot of and in that moment from the trigger going, their lives were not just his life was obliterated. The Halloween
she was
outfit
kicked out,
was disgusting.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say on that, and I don't care what anyone thinks on my bias. I think anyone who thinks it's funny to dress up as someone being assassinated is not
someone's husband.
Regardless of your thoughts on them, that's wrong.
So I think one of the other things that it was saying, which I agreed with, was that it's like believing in conspiracy theories. And maybe we do this with it's like we have that special maybe we do this with the spiritual side of things anyway. It's like
of course we do.
We have a special knowledge that no one else knows.
I've done it. I've gone, oh Christ, I've seen a robin today. All right, that's it. And then nearly killed myself falling down the escalator in IKEA. You're just like, what's going on here?
And the other thing is like the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is overestimating your own knowledge on the subject.
Perceived truths where you believe you understand it completely.
Yeah,
I think we did this a bit last week with the literally when we were talking about the Queen's right to comment on laws. I went off on a bloody tangent. I was like, yeah, but you can't do that, you can't do that, because I was furious. But if you actually fill in the facts, it's worse. It's worse, which is in the link tree. If you want to read the facts, do it. I've done a whole section on a lot of things.
One of the things I was like thinking on the other side of things is why do people distrust like governments and scientists, and it's because, and I think it's not completely unreasonable, because
I think you should always question.
So I think that actually like a lot of the research that has been done in the past, when people, because part of the process of doing scientific research is that it should be
are you talking about implicit bias here? No, you're not, are you?
I'm talking about talk about, so looking at, if you're doing like people scientists have done stuff and they have a bias, and then they have tweaked the results. You can't say like every single scientist hasn't done absolute perfect research with zero bias. And in fact, one of the videos, someone put a great quote: if you torture data long enough, it will confess to anything.
Yeah, but that's manipulating data, data which is biased data.
Yeah,
which is what we're talking about in that regard, isn't it?
Yeah, so often like there's issues, like if you watch the I've talked about her before, Mooncap I debunked evolutionary psychology. A lot of those research, it doesn't have big enough sample sizes. If you don't have a big enough sample size, you can't really extrapolate to.
I'm going to say Lucy Cook.
Yeah.
And literally the turning Darwin on its head.
Darwin and
theory of evolution.
Richard Dawkins. Yeah. Dawkins, the selfish gene. She completely. She
if
basically
you get
breaks
a chance, I've read it. You've listened to it. Yeah. I've listened to it. Bits and pieces of it. Lucy Cook. The book is called Bitch. It's actually about evolution.
Yeah,
and it's interesting.
We will probably mention it every single episode because it
is so interesting because the slant on it is not written from the male bias to start with, which is because basically the scientists who were writing were the ones who were allowed to be in university, at the time of
yeah.
Darwin.
Yeah.
Even he didn't agree with his own theory on it. It was what was accepted by his professors.
Yeah, he had to actually tame it down to be what would be acceptable.
If anyone
to
wants
the
to
time.
borrow that book, they're in the vicinity, you're very welcome to. It's fabulous, but I actually think listening to it on the audio version,
She reads it herself.
because she does read it herself. It's better, isn't it, Mel?
Yeah.
You literally get for as good as the book is, I think it's incredibly wordy, but if you listen to how she interprets her own words, the understanding is completely there. And she's on Instagram and everything. She's brilliant.
Yeah, follow her. We are fangirls, not unfortunately, but
she literally does. It's just insightful. It's understanding evolution.
Yeah,
from a different point of view.
So a lot of the issues with the way because it's because of sort of capitalism, really, is like your aim is to get published. If it's not going to get published, then it probably won't get funding. Also, you really need people to. It needs replicable was the word I was looking for. It needs to be replicable, but actually, what a lot of studies, when someone has tried to replicate them, they haven't been able to replicate the results, and therefore obviously that negates, but people will still then refer back, like with the evolutionary psychology, there's a whole thing about like women are supposed to behave in a certain way and men are supposed to behave in a certain way. Bullshit. But the studies, when they've been replicated, they've been debunked, but people are still referring to them. They're not sort of taken out of circulation. Oh, it's debunked. People are still referring to actually.
That's why you
debunked.
have to watch your sources.
Yeah. I'll put a load of videos that I haven't fully watched myself, but it looked really. I will want to get round to watching them.
I've added a lot in this morning to the.
That's basically there's one. Why most published research findings are false. So for me, the point is like if we almost like we want to trust science, but we can't trust science.
But we can't trust science because science hasn't allowed us to trust it in a lot of ways, because I will never. I've got personal opinions on the COVID jabs and the lockdown and how much it hurt and how much harm it caused mentally to so many people. And I think that self-isolation during COVID broke people. But I think then that has been my catalyst to question everything, medication-wise, everything. It's like, what's this for? Why do we need this? How's this gonna... What's the offset? Why have people suddenly got diseases that they never had post-vaccination? Things like that. I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any shape or means, but it's questioning. It's questioning and understanding it.
I think all medication, we need to really be more...
And big pharmacy as well. Look at big pharmacy.
Yeah, I think we need to be... Because there is a lot of issues with adverse effects of medication, and we need to be... Like, if the doctor says, oh, you've got this condition, you need this, it's like, well, what are the side effects? What are the... Like, be more engaged rather than just go to the doctor and assume that they know what they're talking about, because...
They haven't
GPs,
got time.
They haven't got time to fully investigate what's going on with you.
They haven't got time.
And often it's just, oh, well, this works for most people. Well, actually, we're not, we're all individuals. So it's like understanding what, and then working with the GP to make the best choice for us. And understanding what the side effects are, because often there's drugs that you take and then you end up having to take like a omeprazole or whatever because it upsets your tummy,
and then you end up on a catalyst to actual.
And then what does omeprazole do to
and then you're unpicking all of it. But then that's where holistic and person-based medicine would be so much better. I think I think if you looked at every person individually and said this is what you need, but the facilities aren't there.
No.
In an ideal world, that's where everyone would be looked after.
There are so many, like, obviously, not obviously to Kate, but not to everyone else. So, I lost my mum to cancer, and she had bowel cancer that had spread to the liver, and she was with one team for the bowel bit, and she was with another team for the liver bit, and then she was doing. It was like
put it all together and look at her holistically.
Yeah,
a whole person. Don't get upset.
No, I feel fine. I don't feel upset. I feel mad because I feel like in some ways, if I feel she was let down by the system in a lot of ways, and if that hadn't have happened, she would still be around. There's absolutely no doubt in my brain that, you know.
Do you follow Lady Colleen Campbell? I follow her. She was on I'm a Celebrity years ago on YouTube. She's been in hospital recently because she had a fall and shattered her hip, and she had to go. She actually had to outsource it because she's over 70, and her progress within the hospital was that she'd have to wait and wait and wait. So it'd be 2 weeks waiting. And when her GP heard, it was absolute uproar. It was like, if you wait 2 weeks, you're going to get bed sores. Bed sores then main complications and potential sepsis. So she then literally on her YouTube channel said, "Right, I'm going to have to go private here." And then you had they stepped up, and she got transferred hospitals, and she got her operation. And that really makes me a little bit sad, because she had a voice, and how many people in hospitals don't have a bloody voice? Exactly.
That's what I was like. That's out.
Like, I literally watched.
Who got pushed back down? Who needed that?
But the fact of the matter is, nobody, regardless of age, should be pushed back. Nobody should be. How dare you write someone off, or their lives become less important because of age? People are living longer, aren't they? And everyone wants a good quality of life. How can you then, just because someone's got the privilege of being able to sit and do a YouTube channel or something and shout their mouth off and say, "Oh, this is the process, so I need to do that," so then they can find them a bed, get them their hospital. What about the 5 other people who are in that ward who literally are probably still sitting waiting for their surgery?
Well, it'll push people back who are also waiting probably long ages.
But to give her her due, she did say she was going to go private. And that's really where I think she should have done. I think if she's got the money to go private and she's shouted that loudly, she shouldn't have to. But
no. But yeah, it's not fair to push other people down.
But then the age thing's wrong as well, because outcomes. If you want people to be well for longer, because now you've got, the retirement age is changing again. They want to re-test you for your driving test when you're 65 now. Like a full test for your driving test. Well, the retirement age is 67. If you lose your licence and you need to drive to work and you haven't, why do it then? That's not about capacity. That's more about, we need to do something for this. But how many people are then going to not be able to go to work because they can't pass their driving test at 65, or they've got to wait for their driving test?
Well, we do think, like...
I do think you do need to check, but still, I think the retirement age is, and the fact that it's going to just increase and increase and increase. If you're then not going to give people an equal amount of treatment when is in an ageing population, then when are they going to get their salad days? To sit back.
They don't want us to have. They don't want the lower classes to have salad days.
But you should have, because that's what you work for your whole life, isn't it?
They don't.
I know they don't want it. It doesn't mean it's not unjust, does it?
Well, it
it's so blinking wrong.
So one of the things I've written down that I really wanted to talk about was obviously a lot of the political establishment and the billionaires who own the newspapers are really pushing this culture wars idea, so we don't look at the class war side of things.
We touched on that last week, didn't we?
And the reason I want to touch on that is because I was listening to something the other day that was basically saying that reform, obviously in some ways have been building, although luckily, like in Wales, I'm playing like in Wales, that they thought they were going to win in Wales and then they freaking well didn't. Because they're using this thing about migration into this country to basically trick people into this conspiracy theory of this migration issue that sort of really isn't. I meant to look at this. I put what are the stats, but I remember my partner, I've done it really well this week, saying that something like there was 36,000 people come over last year on boats, which isn't as big. It's still a lot of people like being basically trafficked by criminals, but it's not a huge amount of people.
I think there's so many issues, don't you, at the minute? I think there's the class. We touched on it last week, didn't we? Where you've got poverty within the working classes, and the minimum wage, and then you've got the dips in society where you've got people who are under the current who are doing terrible things illegally and not getting recourse. The class system is buggered at the moment, isn't it?
But basically, so Reform want to take us out of the European Commission for Human Rights, and they're saying they want to do it because of the immigration, the migrant issue, but actually, it's going to fuck everybody over, because if we're not in that, then they won't have to give us however many days. Obviously for us, we don't work, we work for ourselves, we give us as much holiday as we want, but for other people, they might take away the fact, make it more like America where you only get like 2 weeks paid holiday.
But the American
and you have to
system
take sick,
doesn't work either, does it? Because you literally, if you with the American system, if you take maternity, they don't have to hold your job over after 12 weeks.
But that's where we're heading, because people are so obsessed with their hatred of this migrant problem that isn't really a problem.
Do you think that fits into propaganda?
Yes.
And the fact that you've actually got it's fear, isn't it? And if you've got propaganda and you can actually stir up enough fear into something, it becomes a reality.
Well,
it's the truth element, isn't it?
It's pointing the finger of blame in the wrong direction. So you're actually blaming.
But that's opinion as well, isn't it? That people's opinions can be swerved.
Yeah.
Can't they? And
manipulated.
Yeah, but that is pure fear. And all of us have got fear, haven't we? If you haven't got fear or natural anxiety, then you can't protect yourself. And fear is what really does cause outrage and protest, which to an element you've got to have some natural fear to protect yourself.
Well, yeah, otherwise we'd be like falling off the side of buildings.
Yeah, we would. We'd be lemmings, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
That's what we'd be.
Yeah. Obviously that's one of the things as we're going through, like teenagers, that's why they have a tendency to have more accidents and things like that, is because they are
risk takers.
They're learning the boundary of where where risk is.
But you don't want to be risk averse either.
No.
Because if you become risk averse, you don't do anything, do you?
So basically, we're heading where America is already, where a lot of people voted for Trump, thinking that they were, it was just going to affect other people, when actually it's affect them. There was I remember one woman going on, like crying on social media because she voted for Trump, and then like she really needed the medical side of things to help pay for, like, she's got several medical challenges, and then because she voted for Trump, and and there is I will fight always for people to I'm not just fighting for people who agree with me. I'm fighting for the rights of everybody, but I don't feel sorry. I don't have enough spoons to feel like super sorry for these people.
I think you have to have empathy though for everyone. I think if you don't have the empathy for other people's opinions, then it's very difficult to have a balanced view. But I mean, this lady, you're saying this lady couldn't get her medication, but I do know of people. You've got Ozempic, is it, the weight loss meds? My friend, one of my friends who works locally, literally couldn't get her diabetes medication because it was being used because people were outsourcing it and buying it privately. Now, that's wrong, isn't it? And that's where it's gone a bit awry with even our NHS, when you've got shortages. We're so blessed to have the NHS. I'm not knocking it at all, because you turn up at hospital and you might have to wait hours and hours, but you do get seen.
And you don't get a massive bill at the end of it.
No, you don't. And we said about this as well, it's the insurance element of what goes on in America. If you turn round to them, because they upscale the charges, don't they, in the American system, because it really is just one insurer. You buy into a product which is health insurance, you pay that, and then you top it up to what you need to. And if you haven't got it, then the bill might be very different to if you did have the healthcare in place, so it doesn't really marry up
No.
to what it actually costs. I think there's a quote actually where one lady says about she got charged $600 for holding her newborn baby.
Skin to skin.
But that's something we'd never experience here.
No.
You know,
It's
that's
just
not.
crazy.
We're lucky enough to have the NHS for when we fall back. For as much as we do moan about it, it's still a commodity that is a positive in this country.
I think it's right to moan about it because
I think it is.
The issue is that it's being undermined by the current government. So we do have more of an American model.
But the current government are disgusting. That's my opinion, and I'll stand by it. They're basically Tory light. Well, they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible, and there does have to be a change of something. Because if I just am mortified with where we sit on a social level. You know, I am a socialist. I've always been a socialist. But this is not. The government we have at the moment are not at all. No, Labour is no longer a left-leaning. No, it's nothing. No. There's no even. I don't know what the answer is. Vote for someone. Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn's party, or the Green Party, I think, is currently. I don't even know that anymore, though. I've looked into so much, and I don't know where I sit because there's elements of Corbyn that are a little bit. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I literally. I'll forever question and have to unpick everyone now. I will never. It was so simple before, wasn't it? You just could historically say, "Oh yeah, I'm a socialist." Labour's where not anymore. Never. No. It hasn't been. Well, Tony Blair wasn't really. No, Tony Blair was a Tory anyway. But we digress. Yeah, we've gone past an hour. We have gone well past an hour. So I want to quickly say, repeat truthiness. Because I found out some more information. So it was potentially coined by Stephen Colbert in October 2005, but it was possibly used before to actually mean truthfulness. But now means things that feel true but actually aren't. Maybe we'll save that for another time because I've got a thing about cognitive dissonance because that would be interesting, but you can go for it if you want. Well, the thing, because one of the other things was like a lot of the men who have been were attacking hotels full of migrants to protect the women. Or actually, 41% of them actually had previous convictions or at least cautions for attacking domestic abuse. So I think that stat from. Are we going to link it in? I just remember reading it. I haven't actually found it. I can put the stat in. Okay. And I'll put in something there that I have known. But basically, the cognitive dissonance is where it's the difference between what you say you believe and actually. Your actual actions and experience, your behaviour and actions and experience. So in there's a massive cognitive dissonance between we want to protect women, but actually the women that are in our own families we actually attack. So and there was a study by Festinger and Carl Smith, a whole one word. I think it said Carlsberg for a minute. That was in 1959, so probably all the psychological studies in the 50s and 60s were seriously unethical. But basically they were looking at cognitive dissonance in the fact that they had to do an hour's worth of really boring tasks, and then the next person that they thought was going in, who was actually one of the experimenters rather than... Right. They were given either $1 or $20 to lie to the next person saying it was really interesting, and the people who were paid $20, when they were asked later on about how boring the task was, they said it was really boring, and the people who were paid $1 said it wasn't that boring.
when they had to like self-assess how boring the task actually was.
Okay.
Because basically it was to
That sounds
close.
close, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's been a noisy day today. We'd have no party time anymore, so that's good. So yeah, just to close the gap between. Basically, they were changing their minds about stuff because they had the cognitive dissonance in their brain of how boring the task was, and the fact that they had to lie about it. They were, oh, well, it wasn't that boring, really.
So they
Because
just
there was
processed it differently.
Yeah, the people who were paid $20, it was enough of a well, I got the $20, so it's sort of they didn't need to lie. But lying for a dollar wasn't worth it. So it was like they had to actually make it that they weren't really lying.
That's bad, isn't it?
So
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Really.
There's lots of it's basically it's that sensation thing again, which we're coming back to shortly. It's like we can't sit in that discomfort of
It's not worth it.
actually I'm saying one thing but actually I'm doing that dissonance. So that's a discomfort. So we're coming back to sensory snapshots. So yeah. Interesting.
I think this has been an interesting one. I don't know if
we've gone a bit over.
Yeah, we've gone over. We've talked. Basically, this was about self-awareness, bias, and everything. Really, we've touched a little bit on everything. I think that next week we are. Do you want to talk about what we're? And then we'll do sensory sensation at the end. Yeah. Next week's medical bias, isn't it? I believe.
No, connection.
Connection first, and then we're building up.
Then we're building up to looking at some. Medical biases are going to be another one where we look at it.
I think
for many different times because there's so many aspects that are big rabbit holes.
There's also an awful lot where with connection next week I think we'll probably do something similar where it'll be discussion based, and then is that what where we want to go with it? That's where kind of I sat when I was planning yesterday a bit with it. Okay. That's fine. Over to you, Mel.
Thank you. So we're rounding up now to the end and we're doing our sensory snapshot. So again, that's 4 parts. So it's the highest level of sensation you feel in your body, and you want to look at the location, the temperature, the movement and the texture. So there was a moment where I felt a light fizzy warm sensation in the front of my abdomen.
Yeah, I've got a tingly cold sensation in my big toe.
In
my big toe. That's it.
I love it. So yes, thank you for those who join us.
Yeah, thank you so much. This one goes on YouTube on Tuesday at 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
And we might actually edit this one.
Well, yes, we're trying to do some editing.
Which is boring.
Only simple editing, like taking some stuff out and putting some stuff, putting some stuff in. Nothing too complicated.
All the research documents are up on the link tree.
Bye, thanks for joining us, and like and subscribe.
Yep, like and subscribe. Don't forget to...
And ring the bell.
Yeah, ring the bell, that's the important bit.
Yes.